Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode we are going to blend several exposures with Pixelmator. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramelli, I'm a French photographer living in Paris and I make 2 tutorials per week. If you want to get the tutorials for free on your YouTube channel, all you have to do is click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to get over 100 raw files of all the past episodes and this episode, all you have to do is click here to get subscribed to my newsletter, and you will get twice a week my newsletter and all the raw files that goes with all the free episodes. All right, in last episode we played around with some presets. If you like presets, check it out. This week I'm going to answer a question I get a lot. What do you do if you don't have the finances to buy Photoshop? I've been looking around, different software solutions because there are things that Lightroom cannot do. And there's one that I want to show you today called Pixelmator. I think it's about 30 euros or $40 as a software, and it's really cool because it's got layers, it's got masking, it can do a lot of stuff that Photoshop can do, and I find it very fast. I already showed you a couple of weeks ago how to do this type of retouching using GIMP, which is a free software. Well, this week we're going to take these 2 exposures and we're going to blend them using Pixelmator and do the final retouching in Lightroom. So let me show you how. Before we get started, I just want to answer a couple of questions I've had regarding my courses. My courses are a lot more extended than what I do in my free stuff. For example, my latest course, which is Photoshop for Photographer, is over 5 hours on Photoshop. So I got a lot deeper than what I do on my YouTube channel. Some people is wondering. Also, if you want to offer this course to a friend or your family, you can just buy the course and then send an email to support@photoserge.com saying that this is to offer with the email of the person you want to offer, and I will do a specific message for that person offering the course with the link so she can just download everything. So that's one question I've had, and voila. Let's get started to the tutorial. So today I'm going to show you a cool trick. I have a lot of people writing me telling me that they don't have Photoshop and don't have the finances to do Photoshop, and they like the digital blending that I do, where I can mix different exposures. Well, the GIMP, which I showed a few weeks ago, is a possibility, but I found another one which I think is even cooler in some ways, with a program called Pixelmator. It's Mac only, I'm sorry for Windows user. You find it on pixelmators.com, and it's really cool. It's like a mini Photoshop for the Mac. It can do all kind of funny stuff, and I'm going to show you that now. So here's a photo that I bracketed in Florida. It's a very classic, lifeguard little house, beach house. I don't know how you call that in the US. Anyway, so this is the normal exposure. This is the underexposure, and this is the overexposure. And the thing is, I shot this with a Sony A7R. It's a very powerful camera, and in fact, with just the normal exposure, I'm able to get all the details, with my usual opening up the shadows and bring down the highlights. However, not everybody has a Sony A7R. I'm actually going to give you the 3 files so you can see for yourself. And here's the trick I want to give you. If you have a scene that you like and there is a lot of contrast in the sky, like this, for example, you go into manual mode and you shoot the first photo, and then you play with the speed to make it brighter or darker. You use the same aperture, and so I'm going to use the normal one, and I'm going to use the overexposed one. I'm not going to use the underexposed one. So I'm going to use the normal one just for the sky, and I'm going to use the overexposed photo just for the details on this little house here. The thing is, so let's say you don't have a very high-end camera. Well, just shoot a proper sky and then shoot a proper foreground element, okay? So I'm going to do a bit of retouching in Lightroom before we go into Pixelmator. All I'm going to do is bring down the exposure because I'm trying to get a nice sky here. So I'm going to put it on daylight, and I'm going to put, I'm not going to add clarity, but a bit of vibrance and saturation, just so that it pops a little bit, okay? So now I have a sky that I like. I'm not going to do all the noise stuff. I just want to show you the demonstration of the blending of exposures. And then on this one, I'm going to go the opposite. This one is too bright, so I'm going to make it a bit darker. I'm sorry. that's I wanted to use the exposure. Yeah, a little bit darker like this. Maybe add a bit of clarity. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the first one. Oh, one thing is I'm going to put the same, I'm going to put daylight also on this one, the same white balance. Okay, so I'm going to right click. Oh, one thing is, for this to work, once you have installed Pixelmator on your Mac, then you have to go to Lightroom Preference, and you go to the third tab, External Editing. You see you have the first editor is always Photoshop, and the second, you can put an additional one, Additional External Editor. All you have to do is click on Choose, and then I just type in Pixelmator in the Finder, and it found me automatically the pixelmator.app. Click Choose, and just make sure you're on the TIFF format. Color space is RGB. That's unfortunate that Lightroom works in ProPhoto and Pixelmator only deals with is RGB and 8-bits files. 8-bits files is not a problem for me. I work a lot in 8-bits, but ProPhoto would be a little problem. Anyway, it's not Photoshop, but it can still do a couple of nice things. So TIFF sRGB 8. Once you've done that, then you have the possibility to just right-click, edit, and now you have the possibility to edit in Pixelmator. So, which is what I'm going to do. Edit a copy with Lightroom adjustment. So I'm first taking the dark file first, that I'm going to open up in Pixelmator. Okay, now this is not a full tutorial about Pixelmator. They have a lot of tutorials on the website, which are awesome if you want to learn the software. I just want to show you the use, because in Lightroom we are limited. There are things we cannot do. Okay, so this one is open. That's perfect. I'm now going to go back to Lightroom. I'm going to take my overexposed photo, which I've retouched a little bit. Edit in Pixelmator.app. Okay, edit. So let's go to Pixelmator. Let's wait for it to open. Now, each of these files that I'm giving you actually for free, if you subscribe to my newsletter, are 36 million pixels files. Let's see if it opened yet. No, it's not open yet. So they are pretty big, and Pixelmator can have a bit of trouble with it. So, okay, here it comes. So now all I'm going to do is take this file with Command A to select everything, Command C to put it in memory, and then I'm just going to close it with Command V. Command V closes the file. So because I don't need it anymore, I've put it in my memory, I'm going to click on Delete. So I don't keep that, and I'm going to press Command V. So I have copy and paste the file. So now I've got two layers. Here you can see you have layers, which is cool like Photoshop. So the first layer is a bright photo, and the second layer is the background photo. So we're going to use the first layer to select the sky. And for this, I'm going to use, they have exactly like Photoshop, a quick select tool, except it doesn't work as good as Photoshop, to be honest. So first I'm going to make it very big, and I'm just going to paint on the sky. And that's the good thing, because I'm using, a burnout photo. It's too bright. So as a result, it's going to be easier for me to select. Now, for some reason, it didn't work very well. It selected the house in the same time. That's fine. In that case, you press Alt, and your mouse becomes minus, and you unselect the house. Okay, and let's unselect that, for example. Now, it's a bit lagging because it's a huge file that I'm giving Pixelmator. But I wanted to test it on very big RAW files to see how it goes, So basically, it's like Photoshop. By default, here you have different mode, but I have the add mode. And by default, when I'm painting with the plus, well, I'm adding to the selection. So I just want to make sure that the sky is selected. Okay, and I'm just getting to learn the software. And it's not bad. It's not as good as Photoshop, that's for sure. But honestly, for a $29 software, I find it to be pretty cool. Okay, and sometimes it goes really fast. I remember the first time I tried selecting it before to prepare that tutorial, it went like a charm. And now it's giving me a hard time. I don't know why. Okay, I want to make sure. So it's got the marching ants. Now, it's got another mode, but I'm a bit confused about it. Let me see here. If you use this tool, if you go here next to the tool settings, you have you can edit in quick mask mode. The whole idea is that anything that you select is going to be the photo, and anything which is not selected, I believe, will be in red. So let's see. I'm going to make this smaller. I want to unselect this part here. Okay, it's lagging a little bit. All right. I want to unselect this part. Oh, I made a mistake. I pressed Shift. You have to press Alt whenever you are into. Let me zoom in a little bit. So yeah, it works pretty cool, but it takes a bit of practice, to be honest. And I've been using it only for a couple of days. So I'm going to make this a bit bigger. And I'm not going to bore you if it's too long. I'm going to pause this until I finish the selection, because you get the idea. The whole idea, I'm trying to get the house selected, and I don't want the sky to be selected, but it's lagging a bit right now because maybe I have too much stuff open. So, all right. I'm going to go out of the quick select mode because it's not helping me. So I just click that, and I just want to, I just want to unselect that, please. And I want to select that. Yeah, the quick mask mode did not help. Okay, now the fact that I lowered the exposure, it makes it a bit harder now for it to select. I don't know why it's having trouble selecting this. Okay, let's make this a bit smaller. And but that's a good thing about, all right, so now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just taking back the tool. And I'm just going to click here to select this part. You see it detects automatically, so that's pretty cool. Makes this tool smaller. And select this part. All right. And maybe select this part. I'm trying to make a mask, basically, of the sky. I want to have a proper selection of sky. Not so bad. I'm pretty happy with that now. I am pretty happy with that, except this part here. For some reason, it's not taking it. I want this to be selected. Okay. All right. I'm almost there. I don't know. It's got a problem with the clouds there. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. So now I've got a good selection here. And what I want to do now is they have a tool which is pretty cool. Just like in Photoshop, when you are on this quick select tool, you can go here, you can go to Refine Selection. Now on Refine Selection, it's definitely not as good as Photoshop, because in Photoshop you've got the Detect Edge, which is going to detect all the edges, and that doesn't happen. But all I want to do is go -1 pixel, maybe on this, and just add a bit of the smooth, so that the selection is a bit inward. Okay, let's see. Yeah. See, if I go inside, oh, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. It's going to be, yeah. I want it to go inside, so maybe not 1 pixel, that's too much. Okay. What the hell? Okay. Okay, so that's fine. So now I've got, 1 pixel and maybe just, 1 pixel to the right. So now it's just to avoid a little white edge around it. Okay, then I'm going to click on OK. All right, so now I've got the house selected. Let me zoom out. So to zoom out, it's like Photoshop. You just press Alt and the plus key. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the background layer. So I've got the selection of the sky. I'm going to put the background layer, which is dark one, on top. And then I'm going to create a mask. And the fact that I've got a house selected, Command D to unselect, just like Photoshop. And look at this, there's not so much of a halo around it. Now, of course, it doesn't look natural this way, so we have to do something about that. But that's cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity. I don't need it to be so dark. I'm going to lower the opacity here. And then I'm going to click on the mask, and you know that this is very dark. White reveals and black conceals. It stops from seeing what we see. So you see the sky here of the mask is white. So anything which is white, basically you can see what's dark here. So what I want to do now is take a brush, make sure it's white, and 10% is fine. Make it pretty big in terms of size. So if you want to change the size, you have to go to Show Brushes and Diameter. Yeah, I'm going to put diameter. I'm going to put something like, 400, even more, like 500. Yeah, something like that. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. And I'm brushing white at 10%. So I'm hardly brushing anything. But I just want to darken the whole photo a little bit more. And I'm trying to just mix up both exposure. Maybe a bit more. 10 is a bit... I'm going to go 16. And so I'm making this a bit darker. But the whole idea is I want to make sure there's no halos. Just mixed both, blend both exposures even more. Okay, make this a bit darker. Something like that. Okay, let's zoom in to see if it's pretty cool. And it is pretty cool. So now both exposures have been mixed. You see, before, after. I have mixed both exposure. All right. Of course, now what I can do is, well, I can merge all these layers. So I can do merge all the layers. And I can actually use some of the tools that they have here. Like, for example, they have this healing brush. They have the healing brush, which you have, I can make a bit bigger. Okay, and just to erase, for example, a few, I mean, I could do it in Lightroom, but I find that Photoshop, or I believe this program would do probably a better job. There was also a bird flying here I want to take out. Okay. But, you know, I could do that in Lightroom. Actually, at this point, really what I want to do was just mix both exposure, and I want to finish in Lightroom. Now, the problem is Pixelmator, and I hope that they fix that, does not communicate well with Lightroom. So to re-import in Lightroom, I have to go to File. I have to go to Save. But I'm going to go to Desktop, and I'm going to click Save Copy as TIFF. Okay, and I'm going to call it, what am I going to call it? I'm going to call it Beach Exposures. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to put it on the desktop. And now I have to re-import it in Lightroom. That's the problem. So for this, I'm going to go to my Finder. Here it is. And I'm going to drag and drop it on in Lightroom. Okay, it's going to open up the import. That's a bit of a pain because you have to go through all that process, and I'm importing it. So I'm re-importing it into Lightroom. So, okay, here it is. But at least now I've got both exposures mixed up, and I'm ready to do my editing. And now I'm going to do what I call the double exposure. So on this one, now I can open up a bit the shadows and bring down the highlights. I'm not going to do too much because I'm going on the principle that you don't have a super high-end camera. I'm going to do my white point though. White point and black point. Okay, maybe add a bit of clarity, a bit of vibrance. Okay, and I want to crop this image. I don't like at all the way it's cropped. So I'm going to do this, something like that. Okay, now that starts to be good looking. And now I want to enhance the sunset. So I'm going to use a brush, make that brush very yellow, very magenta. Make sure that my feathering is 100% and flow and densities are on 70. Okay, make this a big brush. And that's my usual workflow. I just add a bit more there. Okay, and then new brush. This time I'm going to press Alt to reset everything. Just add a bit of exposure. Maybe add a bit of exposure to the house here a little bit. Maybe down here. Just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm ready to do a couple of gradients here. So I'm doing a gradient here. All I'm going to do is bring down a bit the exposure, maybe add a bit of blue. Okay, that's way too much. So I'm going to bring this like this. Okay, I want to make a new adjustment. I want to close the photo, so I want to darken the bottom. All right, something like that. Okay, and voila, it's maybe add a bit of contrast even more and boost a bit the exposure and add a bit more saturation, but that's the whole idea. And so I mixed both of this exposure, and it looks pretty cool, and you have a pretty nice file at the end. I like this. I actually make it a bit brighter. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. I think, you know what? I don't want to make it brighter this way. I probably should just do some more brushes, Probably some more brushes here. Add a new brush. Maybe boost a bit the flow and the density. I cannot help it. I just want to see a bit more what's going on in the house, So that's fine. The complexing a bit the light. I like to do that a little bit. Okay, so I'm just brushing a bit. All right. Maybe not so much. Let's make a new brush. Let's make it bigger. Okay, that's cool. New brush. And that's my usual stuff, my usual dodge and burn thing, that I do. Well, that's way too much on this one. Okay, anyways, you get a bit the idea. But the main point was to be able to mix up both of these exposures, you know. And you should try that if you, and Pixelmator is a good software to try that with. I kind of like the final result. Maybe I would add, I'm going to close this, on the overall photo, add a bit of magenta on the white balance, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's kind of what I was going for. Okay, so yeah, I'll show you a couple of other things in Pixelmator. For example, this photo was taken on a very rainy day. You know, you can see it's wet there. And that's the final retouch, but I wish I could have seen the rain a bit better. And if you go to Windows and, View, and put on the effects window, which is here, effects browser, you have a lot of effects. I'm not going to go into that. I just want to show you, like I went to Stylize, and they have this cool pre-made effects, which I find really cool. For example, they have the rain effect. So here it is. Check this out, rain. I'm putting a bit very strong so you can see it on the video. I can even change the angle of the rain, you know, and it just looks amazing, like there is just rain, you know. I click on OK, check it out, you know, before, after. So they have this pre-made effect that I really like a lot. Okay, another one. This is a scene from the Sequoia tree. Now I wish I had more snow, you know, I could catch snow. Well, they have a snow effect. I can drag and drop it, snow effect, check it out. And now I've got snow all over. So they have a lot of cool effects like this, and so for $29, I think it's a pretty good deal for people that cannot afford Photoshop. And voila, so hope you learned something, and this was this week's tutorial on Pixelmator. Alright guys, I hope you like these tutorials, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.